Hey guys, and welcome to the HellfireComms playthrough of Shovel Knight, Specter of Torment. I am NTom64, and gotta start off this playthrough on a bit of a down note, because you see, the main co-commentator for the Shovel Knight playthroughs, Helldragon, is no longer part of HFC. Don't worry, he left on good terms. He just wanted to, you know, after 8 years, he wanted to see what was going on IRL, and you know, I couldn't keep him here because the magic had worn off, so I've had to bring someone else in. He's a friend of mine I've known for many years. His name's Matt, and yeah, I hope you guys treat him as well as you did Helldragon. How's things going with you, Matt?
It's going pretty good, Tom, I gotta say, and then thank you very much for inviting me to come in on this commentary. I know it can't really replace, you know, good old THD, but I'll definitely do my best to meet his level of quality, if you can say that.
For sure, for sure. Do you mind if I call you Helldragon?
Well, THD is also fine. That's mine as well. If I'm replacing him for a little bit, we can go by that, just like old times.
Oh, fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Okay, Specter of Torment. Almost called it Shovel of Torment there, but no. This is the prequel to Shovel Knight. As such, the titular shoveling knight himself will not appear. He's a currently grieving shield knight. So we get to play as, well, the not Grim Reaper you can see on screen here. How did you feel about Specter Knight being the second, like, choose a boss character who won, mate? Did you want someone else?
I don't know. I think, like, when you fight Specter Knight originally, like in the main campaign, you don't really think that could be material good enough for a playthrough. But I do like what they did here in the fact that they kind of treat it as a prequel to the main campaign, and you know, all the campaigns have been pretty good so far. I'd have to say Specter Torment isn't my quote-unquote favorite campaign, but I'm not saying it's bad. Far from it. It's actually very good. They actually change so much stuff in this campaign. It feels completely new at some point, so they really went the distance. As for the plot, you know, again, it's I'm not as involved with it as I was with like Plague Knight's story, but as it went on, you know, I started to get more admiration for it. So I'm really hoping they kind of do more with it when, you know, Shovel Knight 2 inevitably rolls around. And I'm guessing what they may do is, I hope actually King's Knight campaign is like a branch from Shovel Knight 1 to Shovel Knight 2. I think that would be particularly interesting in general.
Well, I've got stuff to say about that later, but let's talk about how the Spectre himself controls. He attacks faster than Shovel Knight. I think his basic jump is a little bit weaker than either Shovel or Plague Knights, but to make up for that, he can basically run up walls, and he can do like diagonal slashes up to the left or the right. And yeah, I would say this is... I try to gauge difficulty, because the bosses are piss easy, because thanks to all the maneuverability options Specter Knight has, they're kind of a piece of piss, especially when you start getting his quote-unquote relics. I would say the levels themselves are pretty hard, until you get a certain piece of armor, which basically negates a lot of the spike and pit difficulties. I'll be using that because I'm a coward. See, there's the, you know, rising tackle kind of thing.
The great thing about Specter Knight is that he has this really cool ability where he can actually dash slash, you know, diagonally onto enemies or into like objects in the background, and it makes the game feel so different. If I had to make an immediate comparison, I would kind of call him the Zero to Shovel Knight's Mega Man, I suppose, except for the fact that Shovel Knight isn't really ranged. But he has, once you get into the flow of Specter Knight's gameplay, it's actually really satisfying to just platform around and just dispense of enemies. It feels really good. I would have to say the main difficulty I had with this campaign was the pits again, and that kind of tends to happen whenever I play Shovel Knight. He does have that ability where he kind of runs up on the walls, but the thing is, I felt sometimes he'll automatically kind of go to the wall, and if you don't know what you're doing right then and there, it is super easy to accidentally bounce off into a pit. Yeah, that happened to me a ton. But other than that, like I said, once you get into the flow of it, it's very satisfying to play. And there's that, and all of the level changes like throughout this campaign just make the game feel drastically new, to the point where you can actually buy this campaign individually, and I would say it's worth the money even for that, just because it feels so good to play, you know what I mean?
Let's put our cards on the table here, mate. Where would you rank Specter of Torment? Because you've got Shovel of Hope, which is what the main campaign was renamed to. You've got Plague of Shadows, which was the first boss campaign. We've already done a playthrough of that, and you know, the Shovel Knight story. Where would Specter of Torment fall?
I guess for me, like I said, it would be near the bottom, because I'm taking it all as a whole. Like, well, I have to say, I like Plague Knight's story more in the terms of the content there, but I felt the gameplay, it's not as satisfying as, like, Specter Knight. Like I said, once you get into the Specter Knight feel of it, it's very fun to play. In contrast, you know, Specter Knight's gameplay is great, but the storyline, you know, at least beginning, it's kind of simple and kind of easy to see what's going on. I mean, they're setting up for the events of Shovel of Hope, so some things kind of have to happen, but there's actually a neat little twist here and there that made me reconsider it. But for me personally, it's still going to be Shovel of Hope, Plague of Shadows, Specter Torment, but the gaps are very small. Specter Torment is not bad by any means. It's definitely worth the playthrough, you know what I'm saying?
For sure, for sure. Well, not really sure what to talk about now, because we've been through this intro stage about 50,000 times so far. There is actually a cheat code for wall running that allows you to play similarly to how Mega Man X's wall running goes down, i.e. you slide down the wall and you can choose when to jump, as opposed to, you know, you've got a limited time to make the jump when you run up the wall.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I actually have to do that. There's also another cheat code where, okay, when you use the cheat code that, you know, Tom was talking about, it turns Specter Knight blue, but there's another one where it lets you do that, but it keeps the colors you have going, if, again, you want that Zero vibe. You know what I'm saying? So I'll actually have to do that. But in order to play this, I actually had to get my PS3 back online and connected to the internet, just so I could download it, and I have not booted up that bitch in a long time. Hey, another console I have not booted up in a long time, my PS4, but apparently there's actually stuff coming out for it that makes me want to, you know, load it up again, you know what I'm saying?
Well, dude, there's that Dragon Ball Z Fire, Dragon Ball Fighters, that looks dope, better than Marvel Infinite, actually.
I'm actually thinking about getting both of those on PC now that I have a PC that's sort of worth a damn. I'm not saying it's huge, but it should be able to run something that is not like... Hell, I think it's even struggled on, like, Metroidvania-type games before, back in my old, you know, Inside graphics card. So that's where I'm looking to it. Apparently, they both are coming out on Steam. And I think with this campaign, actually, Shovel Knight actually got renamed on Steam and in general to Shovel Knight Treasure Trove, because it's going to have all those campaigns, all the extra stuff. Oh, another cool mode that we won't be showing it off here. Another cool little feature that I actually grew to like more as I kind of looked into it, is the body swap mode. And what that does is that you can actually choose to swap the genders of all the major characters in the game, from Shovel Knight to, like, Shield Knight to all the bosses. And you don't have to flop it over, like, all one way. You can actually choose which people you want to be male and you want to be female. And this kind of pays off, well, I'll talk more about that in a bit. But first, we have to take care of Black Knight, as we are wont to do on this stage.
He is as surly as ever. You know, he doesn't want anything to do with the Empress, and you can kind of tell why at this point. You know, stuff has passed. He knows that Shield Knight has fallen and become evil, so basically he's being like a tsundere bodyguard of sorts, I suppose.
And this is where I really started to get interested in Specter Knight, because now the Black Knight battle is so drastically changed, and every boss has, like, new attacks, new gimmicks. It's fantastic. They don't feel old. And so basically here, he's doing the same stuff as before, but now you have this invincible terror pin, this creature to bounce off of, in order to go back and forth and make sure you can land multiple hits. And that's the best strategy I have found for the bosses. Because of the dash slash, you have an ability to bounce off whenever you hit. So I feel the optimal strategy is landing, you know, multiple dash slashes and using that bounce back as a way to keep yourself safe. It turns into a real kind of cool back and forth kind of battle with each boss that is super satisfying in my opinion. A
little bit on the easy side, but as long as it's fun, who cares really? Oh man, that's such a self-indulgent win animation, but I love it.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna be a Specter of Torment, you might as well pose out, you know what I'm saying?
Let's get this out the way. Torment!
And so yeah, we already have a little bit of potential hints as to what Specter Knight could have potentially been before he got the powers that he has now.
Yes, he was once a man named Donovan, and I guess he went through his goth phase, and here we are.
Yeah, it's not Donovan from Darkstalkers, unfortunately, which is a dead franchise, which makes me sad, because I would love to see more Darkstalkers games, personally.
Okay, I guess I'll just leave you here. Bye!
Well, he doesn't seem, willing to join the Order of No Quarter that we're trying to found in this campaign, so, what can you do?
Oh, my beloved Locket, you're the only one who understands me.
Yeah, man, the story for the Locket is actually quite great in this game.
About that.
Yeah, see, we weren't able to really secure health insurance options for him, so he has opted to decline our membership opportunity.
Tarry means wait, I believe.
Well, thank you for that translator's note, Tom. I really appreciate it.
Well, I have skimmed all 3 Lord of the Rings books, so I can translate a little bit of ye old Englishy.
So basically, between each stage, you have access to the Tower of Fate here. You can access different stuff, explore around, and as you beat bosses and, recruit people to the Order of No Quarter, it gets expanded, more minions come in, so it's a really nice kind of visual indicator of your progress as you go throughout the game.
Oh, look at this place. It's so dingy, but I love it. It's well lit, surprisingly.
Now back there, I don't know if you're going to talk to this lady, but I noticed back there was a lady in like a huge obnoxious dress. She's an exclusive character that shows up if you play on anything that supports Amiibo. And I believe she gives you like a little kind of fairy option. I don't know too much about it, but I know at least when you're playing a Shovel Knight, you get like a little shovel fairy that you can do stuff with if you talk to her.
Well, I'm not using any Amiibo functionality, so it shall forever remain a mystery, but what won't remain a mystery is the collectibles in Specter of Torment, these red skulls that you find hither and thither, and they're basically what you use to purchase curios. I call them relics, but in Specter of Torment they are called curios, so let's see what we can buy here. Alright, we've got your typical projectile weapon, slash weapon. This is my curio of choice, the Will Skull, and it allows you to regain will.
Yeah, which is your, little kind of name for health, because you are technically dead, so you don't really need health, you just need willpower to keep things together. What I like about this is that with each curio, you actually have to go through a tiny little mini dungeon to kind of teach you how to use it. And in a lot of these areas, your basic attack's kind of disabled, so you have to use the curio in order to get out. Among all the curios in the game, I noticed back there we saw like the throwing sickle, the Will Skull here, obviously, and the Dread Talent. The Dread Talent I never really got of a huge use out of, because it was it's kind of a shitty short range attack when really the scythe can kind of take care of that. And the curios can actually be upgraded once we access that option. But even upgraded, I didn't really find much use for the Dread Talent, so personally I don't recommend buying it.
I didn't even get hit there. Why did I need the Will Skull?
Yeah, that's pretty good. I got hit there myself because obviously they're trying to teach you how to heal yourself, but you just dodged it like a pro, so I don't even know what you bought it for.
Speaking of pro-ship, I will end up dying a few times on screen, but due to certain armor I will be acquiring, I won't have to restart, so this will be probably the only time in the Shovel Knight playthrough series that you'll ever see me die on screen, so enjoy it while it lasts.
Now, there are these two little things bopping around here in the Tower of Fate. You feed them enough money, and they'll have access to certain abilities. One of them is the curio upgrades that I was telling you about, and that's over there on another screen. This guy is the one that actually sells you armors. And the armor you're talking about, and you'll eventually buy this, and I'll hate you for it, because it's an armor that, whenever you drop into a pit, it'll take a bit of money, and it'll kind of shunt you back out of that pit. The trade-off is that it is the ugliest looking armor I may have seen in the Shovel Knight series. It's this ugly ass green purple thing, and I don't know about you, but personally I'm not gonna walk around playing my video game colored like Daily Dose, okay? See, this one right here, the 3500 one, that thing is ugly as shit. I'm sorry, I did not use that at all in this game.
Green and purple, motherfucker. But yeah, that's the one we're gonna go with. There's, many different options here, but I'm a coward, so I'm going for the coward's option.
I actually bought the Rail Mail, the 6000 one, which lets you grind along the ground. Didn't find a ton of use for it. I eventually bought the Ghastly garb, which is like the, you look super cool, but it's got no effect. Honestly, the armors kind of suck in Specter Torment, I'm gonna be honest with you, so I just kind of went with that one and I was good.
Whatever floats your boat, mate. This Dark Acolyte person seems familiar somehow. It's probably nothing.
You bring that up clearly as a reference to something, but I legit do not remember this person from the other campaigns.
It works out in my favour then. This is pretty awesome. There's no overworld map or like optional stages for Specter Knight to go through, which is a bit of a pig, but you know, the flip side of that is you get to play through the Order of No Quarter in any order you like, so I'm going to start with the last stage first.
Makes sense, yeah, sure, do that.
Well, it's got the most money, and that's what I want right now. We'll see you next time for another part of Specter of Torment.